Mayor, we're now live on the channel, so you can start when you're ready.
I can start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is December 2nd, 2020. It's 2:02 p.m. This is our virtual special council meeting. And that was called and I think was advertised, and let's call the meeting to order. Madam Deputy City Clerk.
Yes. Councilwoman Estimate Irvin.
Present.
Vice Mayor Desome.
Here.
Councilman Galvin.
Here.
Mayor Bieneme.
Here.
Councilwoman Keys.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. And please rise for our pledge of allegiance and followed by invocation. Invocation will be Officer Willie Walden will lead us in the invocation, and the Chief Larry Juriga for the pledge of allegiance. Thank you.
Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Officer Walden.
Yes. Good afternoon, Council. Let us bow. Oh, wise and eternal God, we eagerly entreat your presence this afternoon as we, this distinguished council and the mayor, as we come to God to do about the bidding of the people, but your business, we pray now, dear Lord, that you would give us wisdom. We ask that you would give us guidance. We ask that you would lead, guide, and direct us. You tell us that in your word we can come boldly before your throne of grace. We may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. Father, as you know, we're navigating difficult times. And so we're asking for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Conditions we hold, we know are ordained by you. So we ask your guidance as we work through each individual item. We ask for your wisdom, that the decisions made would be to your glory and to the distinguished, to the constituents' good. Again, we thank you for the privilege to serve, knowing that those who serve faithfully acquire to themselves great reward from you. This is our prayer. Prayerfully it's your will. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Chief Juriga and Officer Walden. And now, Madam City Manager, do we have any addition, deletion, amendments, or deferrals to the agenda?
No, not at this time.
Thank you very much. It's a special council meeting, and I think we have 3 council members here in the chamber. That's been City Attorney, are we set to proceed with the agenda?
Yes, Mayor. As you pointed out, we do have a quorum pursuant to the regulations we set forth in the city. I believe in the last meeting in October, we have a quorum, and the agenda is set. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. And now we have a special presentation with Commander Angelo M. Brinson about hurricane preparedness and about COVID-19. Commander Brinson.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Commander Angelo Brinson, Emergency Manager. We'll start off with the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season, which officially ended on Monday, November 30th. So we're glad to have made it through that season unscathed. This was the record number of storms this year: 31 cyclones, 13 hurricanes, and 6 major storms. So we're happy to be past that storm and ready to start our preparations for next season. Moving on to COVID-19, yesterday the state of Florida crossed the 1 million mark. As of yesterday, we're officially at 8,166 cases. So we cannot stress enough how much we all need to continue to follow all of the procedures, which is to wash our hands, social distance, and wear face covering. Miami-Dade County has 231,000 cases, and the city of North Miami has 1,748 cases. Now, it bears repeating that these numbers are a running total that we've been tallying since the beginning of the pandemic. I believe we started back in March counting. So even though the numbers are creeping up each week, it is a running total from the beginning. We don't have right now 1,700 people with COVID in North Miami, but that's the total number of cases that we've had since it started. That's the presentation. I'll take any questions.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor,
Brett.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a question for Commander Brinson. However, I do have a comment regarding the numbers and the uncertainty that I have regarding COVID. And I don't know, Commander Brinson, if you, since you've been leading this effort, if you kind of share the same thing. I'm a little bit uneasy and afraid because November, according to the expert and what we've been seeing, was the highest number of cases. And you just indicate Florida passed the 1 million case mile. And over the country, it's been over millions and millions. And I think all of us are fatigued. We kind of over COVID, and people are relaxing their routine, whatever that we were used to. And at the beginning of the pandemic, we all were, it was unknown, and it's still very unknown to all of us, I should say. But people think that because it's been 8 months since we've been living with it, and people, have not really, I guess, hurt or gone to the hospital, or many folks have not, they think this might be okay. And it's very important. I don't know what we need to do as a city to keep reminding people this is very, very dangerous. This is serious. I just had someone, a very good friend of mine, mom passed last week as a result of COVID, another one earlier this week. So it's affecting different people differently, and everyone that it is affecting somehow. And some of us may have had it, and we don't know if we had or had not. And we don't know what's going to happen to any of us 5 years from now. So people just need to know this is dangerous. We just had Thanksgiving. People were gathering with family. Christmas is coming. So I'm very, very afraid that people are tired. We all are. And we all want to hug people. We all want to be around people, but we got to be very vigilant. And so I do think we need to ramp up our communication or outreach, Mr. Mayor, whenever we're on the radio or whatever that we need to do to let the community know that this is serious. Again, the businesses, I pass by 7th Avenue, I see them congregating, doing whatever that they need to do. So this is very, very important and serious. So I just want to make that comment and that point.
And you're right, Vice Mayor Dejourne. I was looking at the last report, and this is the first time in one day or in one report, and 17 people was tested positive of COVID. That's mean the situation is there. It's like we back from day one, like we were on March 13. And I think the police department, the chief is watching, and if we can making sure that our mask mandate for the city of North Miami and the businesses and people continue to apply that, Commander Brinson, because in the beginning of March, we see the police department on the street making sure the stores, the businesses, and apply the recommendation, and where everyone coming into the store need to wear a mask. And if they can enforce that, that will be a plus. So we need to do something. And I just signed that petition to send to the governor, so he can maybe and have a mask mandate for the entire state of Florida. because we just passed 1 million and it's serious business. I think some people are happy that finally a vaccine is on its way, but for the regular folks, we don't know when we will be able to receive that vaccine. Based on what we see, it seems like the regular folks got to be by March, April.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
To the administration to do the outreach and making sure the people are informed and please everything have to do what they can in order to slow the spread. And no more questions for Commander Brinson. No comments, nothing. Everything's fine. Thank you very much, Commander Brinson.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And now we're gonna go to tab A. Madam Deputy City Clerk.
Tab A, proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the allocation of CARES Act funding for Miami-Dade County towards City of North Miami grant programs, amending the program guidelines for city grant programs to increase the grant award allotted to applicants to facilitate the distribution of CARES Act funding. And further, authorizing the city manager to make amendments to the program guidelines as needed to ensure the timely disbursement of grant funds, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. This item was tabled from the November 24, 2020 virtual council meeting.
Thank you very much. Do we have a presentation by the administration?
Good afternoon. This item was tabled from our meeting from November 24th, 2020. There are
I don't know
several.
why I can see you, madam. I don't know. Oh, okay.
Can you
Right, I see you.
go back on?
No, I didn't see you. It's like they make your screen small.
So this is continued from the last meeting, November 24th, 2020. I did want to alert to one other in the Exhibit A. There was a scrivener's error for the PAL. They actually had a higher amount. However, I've had some discussions this morning with the county. We've had discussions with the county, and there's been a gift card program that some cities have had that had turned in after we had submitted ours. We've learned of it, and generally you are not allowed to add any programs. However, they have allowed us, if we stay within our allocation, to move some of the allocation for a gift card program. We are expecting to mirror it as the one that they have from the City of Miami, where they have a Publix grocery gift card. So it's the grocery gift card program. What would require an affidavit and a notarization at the time of receiving it. And we think that it's something that we could possibly put out and get out to the residents quickly in the 28 days. So to do that, we looked at some of the programs, and as we talked about, we found that we may have some trouble allocating all of the money or using it before the deadline. So we are looking to move about 50,000 from Family Virtual Learning Hub. We already have expenditures that would only go to about 100,000. So we think we could spend 100,000, and we were going to use 50,000 to allocate to the gift card program. Also looking to remove 100,000 from the e-commerce for the ordering, because in that case, some of the technology that's lighter. And also to take about 85,000 from the restaurant grant and 65,000 from the contact tracing workforce training programs. And that would give us 250,000 to put towards the gift card program. So that's what I would offer to make a change to what we have in the programs, and that we would push forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, tab A, it's with the amendment, and can I hear a motion to move tab 8 with the amendment, or do you have questions?
Are there
Before we open
discussions?
it to the public? Yeah, we're going to open it for discussion. I'm talking about from the dais. Who's gonna go first?
Yeah, yes, are we going first and then opening it, or which way you want to do, Mr.
we
Mayor?
can do that.
Okay.
We do the public hearing first. And then
No, we can
Private
open
Jeff?
public hearing. We want comment from the council. We always can.
Oh, you want the comments first? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind going. Thank you, Madam Manager, for with the program. I have a couple of questions for you. The first question, thank you. I know we had a conversation after I learned, and a couple of residents did call me about the gift card program from the city of Miami. That was one that was very, very publicized, and I do applaud us moving very swiftly, because I do think this is something that our city definitely would be in favor of. But I know that the cities, they have been in touch with if it's Publix or whichever the receiver of the card. So I would ask that your office work with whichever is the store or the designee, wherever the card is. I think you mentioned Publix, to see if Publix will be able to give some type of not a discount, but I think with the city of Miami, they give a little bit more towards the card. So the $250 goes into something. So however that they have it, they worked it out, see if that could be done with us, and if it could ensure that it could only be spent in the Publix, in the two Publix in North Miami. Those are the two requests that that I'm asking the Publix on Biscayne and the one on 6th Avenue. That would be my two requests. And if Publix, the corporation, if they could, do something, if that 250 could be 300 or whatever the case is, because I know the cities that are doing it are definitely putting in for those requests. So I do want to say thank you to you for moving with those program very, very swiftly. After I know we had the conversation yesterday, the other important and vital component to this, if we can, and this is a must. So I don't know if however that we do it, there has to be some effective outreach to be done about it, especially with the nature of our community, to let them know of these services real quick and fast, because this is a lot of money that we are saying that needs to be spent and fast, and who's qualified and how it needs to be qualified. So we got to do the social media, the radio, however that we need to do it, so that people will know, and so that we will be in compliance and make sure that we are doing it real fast. So we just need to get the word out. And I know we are one of the cities that I could say that we know how to do that, because we've done it before in the past very, very, very well. But that's basically what I want to say, and I'm fully in support of the proposal and looking forward to supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. And something I was gonna say, Vice Mayor, and the outreach, we have to outline that for all the programs we're gonna be voting on, because all that money have to be spent by December 31st. That's mean it's not like something we're gonna put a lot of guidelines, a lot of plan under that. Is it correct, Madam City Manager? You were saying so.
December 30th.
December 30th. We have to spend all that money by December 30th. And the other thing I was gonna say about the Publix thing, we can recommend the residents to use the North Miami Publix, but understand that it's a county money and it's federal money. I don't think we can just decide to tie it only with North Miami, but when we are giving it away, we can encourage our residents to use the two Publix in the city of North Miami. But in the guideline, I don't think we can tie that to that.
Well, yeah, the reason that I said that, I know there's one particular city that I was talking about doing a smaller store that they have within the city to create economic growth. I mean, Publix is a big brand. Of course, they have, they have millions, whatever the case is. So I don't think Publix really care And I don't think, the state, I do know, I'm just saying in terms of, us, so, whatever the case is, if it was up to me, I would have preferred something smaller that's in the city, that the little mom and pop, but of course, we go with a national thing. So whatever that, I'll let the city staff, whatever they come out with, whatever it is what it is.
Okay. Councilwoman Estime Irvin.
No, I thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I am definitely in agreement and actually very excited that we're able to help the community in this capacity in this time of pandemic, in this time of job loss, etc. I just wanted to go over some numbers again, Madam City Manager. You took out how many again? Could you go the allocation again for the programs, please?
So I removed about 50,000 from the Family Virtual Learning Hub.
Okay.
I've removed 100,000 out of the e-commerce grant. And remember, that's separate from the business stabilization. We left this business stabilization so that local businesses can get that help. We took 85,000 out of the restaurant grant and 65,000 out of the contact tracing and workforce tracing for the classes.
Okay, and then what about the North Miami PAL virtual?
So PAL, actually, that was where there was a Scrivener's error. That number was actually 126, but they actually already starting to use it, and what they're expecting to spend will meet that entire number.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because those are things that they can order, so it's meeting the order. Yeah.
Okay, that's all of the comments I have to make. Thank you very much. And again, this is the only, the county allowed us to amend this as long as we are staying within this allocation allotted.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Keys. I can't hear you.
Finally up and running. Thank you, Claude. And I appreciate what our city manager is doing to get us the funding. So I think she's done a good job. I don't want to interfere, just get us the money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Galvin.
I have no questions. After we hear from the public, if I have something, I'll let you know. But thank you.
Thank you very much. And now let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab A with the amendment as stated by the city manager.
If you would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand. No hands are raised, Mayor.
Thank you. No previous comments?
No, we don't have any previous comments submitted for this item.
Thank you very much. Can I hear a motion on tab A?
So moved.
Second.
I second that.
It was
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Desaulniers to approve the item at tab A. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much. Tab B.
Tab B. Proposed ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, amending Chapter 15 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Personnel, Pensions, and Retirement by amending Article 1, Department of Personnel, specifically at Section 15-14, entitled Oath, Prohibitions, to remove employee restrictions and prohibitions, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, correction of scrivener's errors, codification, and an effective date. Tab B.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. On November 24th, at the November 24th council meeting, An item was brought up regarding this section of the code, specifically Chapter 15, Article 1, Section 15-14, which is titled Oaths and Prohibitions, which also contained a prohibition on employees being able to run for office, running for public office. It also had contained a clause which could be interpreted to mean that anyone working for the city or in the service of the city cannot make contributions to any political parties or pretty much involve themselves in any political campaigns. I was directed at that meeting to remove those provisions. This ordinance does that. Additionally, so it removes the two provisions I just mentioned. It also adds language in the discrimination section to add that you cannot discriminate against a person in classified services of the city for sexual orientation. So we added that language. We also, as I think we've all talked about, this language apparently came from the civil service rules. It was one giant paragraph. We took those paragraphs and actually enumerated them. So you now have sections 1, discrimination, section 2, fraud, section 3, bribery, and section 4, solicitations. So it's clear what those sections are. And that's pretty much it. This is the first reading. Second reading, we had hoped that it would make it for second reading at the December 8th meeting. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make the 10-day notice requirement. So that the second reading will have to come at whatever meeting we next have, whether we have a December 22nd meeting or sometime in January if we go on hiatus. And that's the process going forward. If you have any questions, I'm here. I can ask any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's open public hearing on the item. I'm Deputy City Clerk. Public hearing on tab B.
Public hearing is now open on tab B. If you would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand. Or for those who are participating via phone, please dial star 9. See if anybody is raising their hands.
You have 2 hands, Gertie.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. One moment, Mayor.
Turn on the mic.
Kamala Furman.
She's self-muted.
Okay.
Hello, Carmela from. Oh. Can I go?
Yes.
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record, and remember you have 2 minutes to speak.
Yes, Carmela Furman, 12530 Northeast 4th Avenue. Couple of comments. First is on a city employee being able to run for office. There's some concern over that as far as who would take on that workload as this employee is running for office, and how will that fall upon other employees to have to take on that extra workload? I don't think that's fair. Number 2, I feel that it's a slippery slope to what and who this employee has access to as far as running for office. And as far as the contributions, I think everyone, especially in the private sector, knows that we can campaign, we can donate, as long as I don't do it at work, as long as I don't use my position at work to do it. So I think it's already basically in our rights as Americans that we are able to support whoever we wish to support, regardless of if we're in public or private sector. It's how we do that. So I don't think there's any need to change those 2 aspects of how the rules are currently written. And so I ask that you think about changing it because it's there for a reason. Just like when you guys voted on the Citizens Oversight Committee, you know, that was forward thinking of maybe we won't have the same police chief in the future. So you were proactive in that. And I think this is the same thing. You don't know what's going to come in the future, what type of employees, who people really are, you know, until they're put in a certain situation. So I think you need to be very careful with how you move forward with this item. And I would suggest that you vote no on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open on tab B.
James Garrett. Please address for the record and minutes to speak on this item.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
James Garrett, 640.
You're speaking loud.
James Garrett, 645 Northwest 137.
James Garrett?
Yes.
He's speaking, it's really low.
We can hear.
We hear. Maybe there's a feedback.
Oh, then it's us that we can't hear. So,
Yeah.
James Garrett, 645 Northwest 132nd Street. The first item I want to address on this ordinance is that you will have a city employee who works for North Miami, but you might have a city employee who's employed in another city. Who is that employee loyal to? Is they loyal to North Miami and they're going to fight for North Miami, or are they going to fight for another city? For example, Scott Galvin could be employed as the Parks and Recreation Director down in Miami Shores, but he serves in North Miami, and there's a federal grant coming up for a youth sports program. Is he going to get that youth sports program for Miami Shores, or is he going to get that youth sports program for North Miami? I'm using that as a case example. Number two, we had this back in 1973, where there was allegations with the city manager at the time, the city attorney, the mayor, 2 councilmen, and 2 ex-mayors. And if you want me to name names, I will glad to name the names of these people. They shook down, allegedly, they shook down a contractor who were building the tennis courts, only the tennis courts at the time, at Sans Souci Estates Park. We could have the same situation. They shook them down for political donations, and they had the Parks and Recreation Director and the Public Works Director doing this on city time, going out to contractors and also going out to builders who were building apartments on 6th Avenue, Northeast 6th Avenue. You opening yourself up on a Pandora's box. The third thing, when I worked for the city in 1986, I had to take a leave of absence every afternoon from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock from the city payroll because I was working for the Jim Smith's campaign down in South Miami. So at 1 o'clock, I had to sign out for my timesheet every day. Mr. Casey made me do it, the city manager, and I had to leave the employment of the city, and I couldn't count them hours. And that was unwritten back then. There was unwritten rules back then that Mr. Casey did not allow any city employee run for another city office. We had a code enforcement officer who was going out soliciting donations from violators on 125th Street, and he was running for a city position in another city. That was the allegation. And Mr. Casey made him pull his application for candidacy in the other city. This is why this ordinance is there. It's not outdated. It's progressive. The original ordinance was progressive. I would urge you to vote no. And I want to leave by saying this. No one can serve 2 masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. Matthew 6:24. Please take that into consideration.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open on tab B. Public hearing on tab B. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do you have any previous comments?
Yes, we have 2 comments previously submitted. Dr. Hector Medina and Alina Medina, 1270 Northeast 124th Street, North Miami, Florida, 33161. It is commendable that they are city employees. My apologies. It is commendable that there are city employees who wants to become public servants and have as their goal on making the city a better place to live. However, it is not an infringement on their rights to seek and hold elective office. They can certainly run for office following the rules that were established to protect the residents of the city against conflicts of interest. Marisol Medina, 1270 Northeast 124th Street, North Miami, Florida, 33161. Hello, council members. I find the change of chapters 15 of our Code of Ordinances would remove vital protections against conflict of interest. Working on a campaign / fundraising from the same office in which a person is involved is messy. I request you do not support this change. Mayor, at this time, I have no further comments, public comments for this item.
No previous emails, no hand raised.
We check in, one moment. One more. Okay. No other hands are raised, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Council members? Yes. Councilor Keys.
Sorry, Nick. Yeah, I'm pretty much against this ordinance. I think we kind of jumped to start changing an ordinance for a couple of employees, but you really need to look at this ordinance going forward. Last week, I wasn't prepared really to discuss it. About 10 minutes before the meeting, I got a copy of the ordinance. A lot of misstatements were made regarding the ordinance because there's little fine innuendos, couple words added that make things not as bad as everybody thought. There really is nothing prohibiting giving campaign contributions as you rate as a citizen. So people were upset about that. This does apply to all of our employees from the very lower ranks all the way up to our manager, attorney, Mocha, because it says any officer or employee of the city. That being said, I see a tremendous conflict if any of our employees also are commissioners or whatever elected position in another city, whether it be CP&D, Parks, CRA, library, police. We spend thousands to send people around the country to various trade shows and conventions to bring back grants, programs, business opportunities, bringing in other businesses. So when people, like someone from the CRA goes and they're trying to bring a business to our city or our development, there's one business to bring back to South Florida. Are they going to hand over their North Miami employee card, or they've taken an oath to their city? This is the city they live in and represent, or are they going to give their commission card? Who are they going to represent? You've got a conflict. Parks, we have parks people going out to get grants for trees, greenery, Pell grants. We've got grants for our Lehman Park lighting. We've had our transportation getting, FPL was going to make us a guinea pig for LED many years ago. Every single department, the police going out and getting special grants. Next time someone from our police department goes to the Dolphins and they're now a commissioner, are they going to get the Dolphins coming to our pal in North Miami, or are they getting it for their city? And this just goes forward. What we're doing is changing an ordinance that has such a potential for conflict going on in the years to come. We shouldn't just jump to change an ordinance for a couple employees. And, you know, the other thing is my job full time. I'm getting emails and calls I get 24/7, literally, from my constituents. How do you turn your constituents off from 9 to 5? Scott, how would you not immediately start answering somebody? How would you tell them they have to wait till after 5 o'clock to get a return permit? You just really can't have a commission type job and work 9 to 5 for a city, which is what this is. So I see conflicts all over the place. I do agree with what Vice Mayor DeSulme said last week. I don't have any problem with any of our city employees running for office. I know in various cities, they want you to stop or take a leave of absence while you're running. I don't have a big concern there, but if someone wants to run and it's going to be a year, we don't want to penalize them, then all of a sudden they don't win. They've lost their job. But I think once somebody is elected as a commissioner or a House rep, forget going further up where we have House reps and then they're going to have to recuse themselves because they're going to have to make a decision on the city of North Miami where they work. We're just talking local municipalities, but the potential can be further on up the chain. So I would like to, if we're going to do anything, just change that last sentence, that any officer employee would have to discontinue their employment after becoming elected or after taking office. So that would be the only change I think would be a good change, and that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Scott, Councilman Galvin, yours first.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I said in the last call, running for office is something that everybody in this country should have to do once in their life. To serve your country, to serve your community is a fantastic thing. Our codes should not preclude somebody from running for office. Right now, if our city manager, sorry, Teresa, if our city manager wanted to become the mayor of Miami Beach, she could. These laws don't apply to those that are outside of the civil service parameters. We had a building director a few years ago, Jim Reeder, who was the mayor of Biscayne Park. Nobody had an issue with that then. We should not preclude a whole swath of people who work in our community from becoming involved. Of course, if somebody runs in North Miami and gets elected in North Miami, you can't be your own boss, so to speak. That would be a clear conflict of interest. I heard a couple of people, including the councilwoman, make the comparison to which master do you serve, which hat do you wear. Honestly, that applies to all of us in all of our jobs. As a councilman, I also run a nonprofit association. When monies become available for the nonprofit association, do I wear my city hat? Do I wear my nonprofit hat? If I was a doctor, how do I separate one or the other? There has to be ethics for the individual. You can never legislate ethics. There's an ethics commission if there's a belief that somebody is acting in an unethical manner by directing business to one place but not to the other. Councilwoman, you're an attorney. If somebody comes to you, as an attorney and, you act in an ethical manner so as to not blur the lines between who you represent as a client and who you represent as a council person. So, running for office should not be frowned upon. I would like to see this measure passed as is to allow greater participation in American democracy.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor DeSulme.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. To echo a couple of statements Councilman Galvin and two statements Councilwoman Keys made. One of the things that I think is the fabric of this great democracy is somebody like me, an immigrant stature, who came to this country, and I am what I am because of my parents came here and struggled and did what they got to do, settle in North Miami, work for the city of North Miami, and I had the opportunity to run for public office. And when I did that, I was working for the school system, and when I as a school teacher. And when I was doing that, I knew that there were several teachers, including some county commissioners, that was actually in office working for the school system. And I went and I asked the HR director and different folks. They told me, no, there's no conflict, and the school board does stuff with the city. So if the school board is doing something with the city, you just have to excuse yourself as an employee. Let the folks know that, just like if you are on a board, that you cannot vote on this item because it's a conflict. Like Councilman Galvin said, it's an ethical stuff because you work for the school system, and they have a whole system of how they do the double, where you don't double dip if you have to attend a city function on a school, while you're working for the school system. So I say all this to support the fact that I do not think that the way the ordinance is written, not supporting someone's right to run for public office, that is right. I do not know of anyone in terms of supporting somebody's, I know the councilwoman mentioned in terms of career, whatever the case is. If somebody's in the city of North Miami, you live in the city, you are running for an office within the city, clearly you have to resign or take a leave of absence because you work for the city. The argument that we were making is if, and I do support that, if you are in another city, that you work as an employee in this city that has clearly not, there are some positions that are chartered position, obviously, that you won't be able to make, but there are some positions that you are allowed to work. That does not impact anything, basically, that has absolutely no bearing on what you do in this city or versus your current position as an elected official in the other city. I don't think that should preclude you to work within the city. To say that if you're a secretary, I don't know what does that have to do with you being a commissioner or a mayor of a city, of your city? You're obviously not representing the city as a director. You're not representing the city in capacities where you are making decision. You are a secretary answering a call, or you are, so those things. Now, obviously, what you said, Councilwoman Keys, I did not think about that. If you are a state rep, then I think if you are in those positions or you're a member of Congress, then I would understand. But in terms of locally, running for council commissioners, I don't think that has absolutely nothing to do with that. We had mayors from, vice mayors from Biscayne Park who worked in Doral, so many other cities that does it. It has absolutely nothing to do with the other city because Councilman Galvin eloquently stated, it all has to do with ethics, because all of us at one point faced, which cities do you support? I have folks who sit here who does not run for office, and I don't accurately could say that they support the city anyhow, and they don't run for nothing. So the fact that the person work for the city, they get a paycheck every week, that they're going to be loyal to the city, tell my constituent that, because I don't see that from people who don't run for office. So that argument goes out the window in terms of either directors or folks who work for the city. So I don't really see that in terms of that. You get loyalty from someone who wants to give their best for the city because they care about giving public service. They know what public service stands for, and they want to give their best in terms of representing the public. So I do support this. I know back then when this first came up, and I think it was a mistake, and I know, and I did then, and I was going to say I do applaud Councilman Galvin and Councilman Keys. You did not vote for this, along with Councilman Galvin, did not vote for it. So I don't know. I guess it's a little change now, but you guys did not vote for it. Clearly, you guys saw what I know, Councilman Galvin, what was different, because when you read through this legislation, and I called the attorney because I was like, wait, this is very, very wrong. I mean, when you look at line by line, and I'm not being an attorney looking at it, obviously whatever was made into this legislation was made for a specific reason. Because it applied to us as elected officials, because says anyone who serves the city. So it was so badly written, and I don't think folks who, you know, should be suffered, to say the least, because of a mistake or old 1930 something rules, you know, that was made, or this and that. So I do support the repeal of this. You know, moving forward, I do not think that if somebody want to serve their community, whatever that community may be, and we're not talking about people who live in North Miami, who wants to run for office in North Miami. Obviously, yes, they do have to, you know, resign, whatever the case is. You know, whatever the codes say they have to do if they win, because that does not make any sense. But in terms of the other ones, I do not see it, and I do support this this piece of legislation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Irvin.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. So this weekend, I really thought about this issue and this ordinance. And like I stated in the last council meeting, that I definitely want that anyone that would want to run and serve, they should be in an environment where they can do so. However, I probably have a mixed feeling and a combination of some things that were said. I actually would like to recommend that we follow what Miami-Dade County is. And what happens is, if you are a candidate, you can run, but once you qualify, you would have to take a leave of absence. And if you win, then you must leave. You know, again, I find it honorable that someone would run as we are doing it. I want them to have that opportunity to run, but if there's a clear rule that is set, they already know that if they're going to serve, they know what the consequences are. Because I just played a couple of scenarios. I even heard of some scenarios that occurred in this current situation, and for me, it's difficult on a lot of levels. So even if it's a secretary, but how is the administration feeling comfortable to direct an authority of elsewhere and that sort of thing? And I think if we have clear set rules and people understand what they're getting into, I mean, there are a lot of times when people encourage me personally to work for the city of North Miami. And I always said, no, I was never interested, because I knew that I wanted to serve my community. And I'm not against anyone working. I just think that if you are an employee and you are looking to run, whether it's in the city or not in the city, I think you should run. And I think not until qualifying, go ahead and take out a leave of absence. And then once you do win, perhaps we can have something that says that they have to leave before they're swearing in, or whatever we all collectively agree on what that time frame is. If we can agree on that, that's where I'm very I'm comfortable being. I just wanted to say that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. City Attorney. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and by amending this article, we're not changing the civil service rule.
You are changing the civil service rules. If you go to section 2, conflicts, it says all ordinances, part of ordinances, civil service rules, or administrative regulations in conflict or inconsistent with the provisions of this ordinance are hereby repealed. So if this ordinance passes, any administrative regulations, any civil service rules that are in conflict with this would be repealed.
And also, anybody can run, right? If we pass that.
Yeah, if you pass this, anyone can run for public office anywhere. There's still a restriction in Florida statute. You know, as everyone said, you can't run you can't be an employee of the city of North Miami and be an elected official of the city of North Miami. So that would be a restriction, whether it's in here or not. That still would be a restriction
From the state law.
From the state law, yes.
Okay. What about if someone is elected?
Elected where, sir?
That's been working for the city of North Miami, and you are elected at another city.
Yeah, if
What provision do we have right now in place?
if right now with the change, if this ordinance passes, then what would happen, you could run anywhere. You could run for the county, you can run for state, you can run federally. If you win, you would still remain at your job here at North Miami.
Okay, I think that's where we have the conflict. As far as running for office, we all agree whether it's for the city of North Miami or for elsewhere. But after the person is swearing as mayor, as vice mayor somewhere else, and the person still have a classified position in the city of North Miami, and I don't see it. I don't think it's right for someone to occupy two classified positions or two swearing positions. Like right now, a police officer cannot have another swearing position. They're gonna have to resign from one. That's when I don't see how.
Mayor, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. A police officer is in a different position because they are an officer, and so they wouldn't be. That's against dual office holding. So they wouldn't be able to be a police officer regardless of what we do. A police officer could not run and be an elected official in another place and be a police officer here.
That's what I said.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, I'm talking about two swearing position. From the state statute, nobody can hold two swearing position. That's when the officer is a swearing position. If the person want to run for office, they're going to have to give up one of them. That's what I was saying.
Okay,
and,
all right. I misunderstand.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's been for me. I think anybody can run for office and anybody can contribute to a campaign and everything. But if the person is elected now and the person have a classified position in the city, I don't think it's appropriate for the person to continue to serve. That's my position.
Wait. What do you mean classify? Yes, go ahead. I have a question for the attorney. Are you there, Mr. Attorney?
Go ahead, Vice Mayor. Go ahead.
Yeah. So a police officer, because the mayor mentioned a police officer, they can't run anywhere now. It has nothing to do with the rules, right?
No, they can. I'm not talking about that article. I'm talking about swearing position.
No, I know. I just want to. So that's a bad example because they can't do it because of the career that they choose to do. So, correct, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir. That's what I was saying. It's dual office.
So they're not a good example.
Let me take another example.
Give another one. The police officer, like city manager, the city attorney. Give the city attorney.
Okay. No, I was talking about swearing position.
Yeah, but police officer, it's not good.
Okay, if we're talking about two swearing position.
Yeah, but the police officer, they know for a career.
Okay, I forget the police officer. That's when, let's say you are the city manager of City of North Miami. It's a swearing position. Let's say our city manager right now. She cannot be the manager for the City of North Miami. He cannot be the city attorney in another swearing position for another city. We talk about two swearing position. That's what I'm talking about. That's why me personally, I'm comfortable. Someone work for the city, you can run for office, you can contribute to campaign, you can do everything. But as soon as you are elected and you swear in, you should resign. That's how I see it, me.
Then what's the point of repealing the whole thing? Why are we bringing this up?
Because right now, they cannot campaign, you cannot contribute. There's a lot of things that you cannot do under this, if I'm not mistaken, and Mr. City Attorney.
What's the question, sir?
My questions, besides that, let's see, we want to keep that part. If you are elected, you need to leave.
Yeah, actually on that point, Councilwoman Mary Estime Urban actually had me do some research, which I was hesitant to do, but I did do it. And that's, we did come up with other cities, and what other cities, all of them, the other cities that we found that even had any kind of restriction like this, all of them, most of them have a requirement that once you've been elected, you can't serve. Some of them have the requirement that if you decide to run, then you have to resign while you run. So there are other things that we can do. But if you wanted to change that, we can change it so that there's still a restriction, but the restriction is that you can't be elected and continue to work at the city.
And the point of Vice Mayor Desulme, let's see, we said if you are an elected, if you went to an election, you win, you're going to have to give up your position at the city. And his question, what's the purpose of changing that? What I was trying to tell him is we have other things that we are changing from that amendment.
Well, I think if we in the process of changing, Councilwoman Keys had some changes. I don't support some of the stuff. I support it the way it is right now, but obviously we have various thing right now. I don't support in terms of what you're saying. So if somebody's elected, they can't work. That's the problem that I'm having. It's like, why they can't? So, Mr. Attorney, what other cities that, the research that you've done, what other cities, or is this something that you could provide to us, or either now or then, that says that the person can't work, or which one that says they can work?
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't bring it with me, but the cities, and Councilwoman, if you want to chime in, let me know if I'm correct or not. It was the county, the city of Miami, Miami Beach, Doral, and Hialeah, from my memory.
No, I need, if you could find North Miami Beach. I know Miami Beach had an ordinance that they referenced in the paper that was 1930 something. So. And yeah, so those cities are compatible to North Miami around here. So North Miami, the other North Miami Beach, other cities. Miami, it says what? So any of them says that you can work after you're elected?
The specific question I had was, can you find other cities that have the same restrictions as we did? And these were the closest ones I could find. And those restrictions are, and again, I don't have it in front of me, but the restrictions were that once you were elected, you could not serve in those cities.
Okay. Well, Doral, wait, Scott, I know, Scott, 1 second, sir. And I know Councilman Galvin, my colleague, want to go next. But I have a question. You say Doral, Mr. Attorney, right?
Yeah, Doral was one of them, yes, sir.
But Doral had an elected official that was working for them.
I can't speak to that.
Well, no, I'm just telling you, from Biscayne Park, he was working in fact, he was the assistant city manager. But anyhow, go ahead, go.
Yes, Councilman Galvin.
Sure, thank you. I'd be willing to discuss a friendly amendment that once somebody gets elected, they would have to resign here. But that needs to be crystal clear to anybody running up front. Part of the only reason we're having this debate today is that when asked, nobody in the staff was able to give direction correctly to two of the people who were candidates. And it's not like they were candidates in Orlando and we didn't see their signs. Everybody knew Daniela Jean and Linda Julian were running for office. Nobody advised them that they couldn't do that or they would have to resign immediately. And the fact that they didn't ask those questions, that's their mistake, but it doesn't absolve us as a city from failing to notify them. So I'm willing to compromise and say, if you want to run for office, you get to keep working. But if you once you get elected, you'd have to resign, as long as that's just made crystal clear to everybody up front, so we don't ever repeat this situation again.
Okay, thank you. Mr. City Attorney, and my question, can you tell me everything that we are changing from that amendment, please?
Right now, the only language that's being taken out is the language that says no officer or employee in the service of the city shall continue in such position after becoming a candidate for nomination or election to any public office. That's the language that we're striking from the ordinance.
Where? Can you specify where it is, please? What section? What?
If you look on page 3 of the ordinance, anything that's stricken out is what's coming out. Anything that's underlined is language that we're at.
City Attorney, I understand that. I want you to say that on record for me, the section and everything, and if you can tell us exactly what we are changing.
On the if you go to page 2,
you understand?
I mean, I don't actually. I just read the section, so I'm not sure
what article, what section.
Section 4 solicitation. No person should write by letter. But the part that we are removing, we want to say that on record.
Okay. If you look, this is chapter 15, article 1, Department of Personnel. This is section 15-14, oaths and prohibitions. We have section A, oaths, section B, prohibitions. Under prohibitions, you have section 1, discrimination, section 2, fraud. Under section 2, fraud, we're removing the last line, that last sentence that's stricken out, that has lines going through it. That sentence reads, no officer or employee in the service of the city shall continue in such position after becoming a candidate for nomination or election to public office. If you go down to section 4, solicitation, we're removing the last, I guess that's the last sentence in that section of the solicitation. That section reads, no person holding a position in the service of the city shall make any contribution to the campaign funds of any political party or any candidate for public office, or take any part in the management, affairs, or political campaign of any political party further than in the exercise of his rights as a citizen to express his opinion and to cast his vote. So all of that language that's stricken out will be taken out of the ordinance.
Thank you very much, sir. And now, if I understand what we have on the table, it's tab B with an amendment. When the person is swearing, you have to resign.
Right. So if the amendment is accepted, then going back to paragraph 2 or section 2, that language, that last sentence, and I'll work on it, but right now, based on what you're saying, what that language would say right now would be, no officer or employee in the service of the city shall continue in such position after election to any public office. And we probably have to define.
Swearing. That's his swearing.
Wait. I do have an amendment.
Yes. What you want to add?
Yes. That's fine, but I won't tell me if I'm wrong on this. If this is already covered by the state, that's fine for anybody running elsewhere. But I think if somebody's running within the city, and I don't know if my colleague, they need to resign or take a leave of absence.
I agree with you.
Is that already in the thing?
Can I just want to make
sure.
City Attorney, wait. I don't know if we're gonna come up with another clear and ordinance about addressing candidates and if you're elected. But I know what what Vice Mayor said. If you work for the city and you wanna run for the city,
that's
I think the person need to take a leave of absence. So
yes, that's different from somebody who's in another city. They could still work.
Yes, in school language, Mr. City Attorney. Yes, Councilwoman Estime Irvin.
I actually was going to suggest that we just use the same language that the county has used, which is that when one is running, qualifying, may I?
No, Councilwoman.
May I offer my amendment at least, please?
Yes, go ahead.
But you already have an amendment.
Yeah, you had it.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is that to allow them to still work up until qualifying, then they have to resign.
No.
But what about the person is working at an influential position?
Yeah, no.
That's in the city. That's the
The
point.
amendment that you want to make in this distinctively to the city of North Miami.
Yeah, the city is different. Yes.
But everything else
is okay.
Yeah.
I think they can do whatever.
Elsewhere. We're talking
I don't
about
think we can.
for the city of North Miami.
They would just have to immediately take a leave of absence or immediately resign.
No,
Which
take a
one?
leave of absence.
As long as they register as a candidate.
Yeah, as long as they register, I would say they need to take a leave of absence from, if they're an employee here and they live in the city, they will have to take a leave of absence from the city. Councilman?
Yeah, can I add the word unpaid leave of absence?
Oh, of course.
If it's not stated.
Yeah, okay, yes. Unpaid leave of absence, of course, from the time that they are a candidate, whenever they announce they have to take a leave of absence from the city, if they live in the city, being a city employee, if they're running here, they have to take a leave of absence from us immediately. Unpaid.
Okay. Mr. City Attorney, can you say for the record all the amendments?
So the amendment is on section 2, which will probably, we'll change it. So there'll be another section. It'll be section 3 entitled election. And that section will say that, it would say that no officer in the service of the city shall continue in such position, after being elected or sworn into, or actually being sworn into public office at another city. Any employee running for city, for office any employee of the city of North Miami running for office in the city of North Miami, shall take unpaid leave of absence upon qualifying.
No,
Do you want it upon qualifying?
No, immediately.
No. Yeah, Mr. Attorney, any employee who resides from the city of North Miami, upon registering as a candidate, must.
That's what I said. Okay. Yes. Okay. So upon qualifying, yeah. So as soon as they file for the office, they fill out the form. As soon as they qualify, then
not when qualifying.
Jeff?
Yes, ma'am.
I think so there is submitting your candidacy and then there's qualifying. I think my colleagues are making a distinction between for the city of North Miami employee, if they are even intending on running, that they at that time, once they submit their paperwork to the clerk's office, at that time they should immediately take
immediately.
Okay. So it's upon announcement. So upon announcing. Okay. All right. Upon announcing. Okay. Upon announcing their candidacy. Okay.
Yeah.
Councilman Galvin, I think has. Oh.
No, I was going to provide a little clarity to Jeff. Perhaps you have to file a statement of candidate to officially state that you're going to run. So maybe it's upon filing of their statement of candidate.
Candidate form F6 or 06 or something.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Councilwoman Keys.
Mr. Attorney, you read something about any officer running for office after being elected would have to resign. I thought it was any employee in the city, and I'm not sure exactly what an officer would be. Are we talking about
Well, the language that existed before is officer or employee We could change that to just all employees. The officer doesn't necessarily need to be there.
Yeah, you have someone. You have some language in that ordinance that says anyone in the employee of the city. So I think
that's the other section. That's the section about giving campaign funds. It says no person holding a position in the service of the city, which is pretty broad. But we're taking that section out.
So we're talking about anybody, any city employee, and that's whether they're classified or director or any, or in the police department or anything.
Yes, there's no distinction between classified or unclassified. If
I
you say
change the word officer to be a little more clear, please.
Yeah, employee. Can you repeat the language for us that we want to change, Mr. City Attorney, please?
you will have a new section. You will have a new section 3 entitled elections, and that section will state. And again, we'll make sure it's correct by the time we bring it back. Is no employee in the service of the city shall continue in such position after being sworn into public office in any other jurisdiction. And then the next sentence will read something to the effect of any employee of the city running for office in the city shall take unpaid leave of absence upon filing their statement of candidacy.
Yes. Yes, Councilman Galvin.
Thank you. To Mr. Cazot, again, Mr. Cazot, can you repeat that first section for me? I got a little confused. What was that first sentence?
The first sentence is no employee in the service no employee in the service of the city shall continue in such position after being sworn into public office in any other jurisdiction.
But see, that's what I disagree with. If you run for office in Miami Gardens and you get elected in Miami Gardens, all right, that's where I'm willing to compromise, I guess, that if they get elected, they have to resign. I withdraw my statement, withdraw my comment.
Yeah, I'm with you also, Councilman Galvin, but I saw that we didn't, we are in minority in that little fight.
I withdraw my question. I understand, but
I do want to put on the record, though, Mr. Mayor, I am fully in disagreement, just to make it, because I see my colleague are in favor of amending it. I'm fully in support. I don't have an issue, and I don't see any problem if somebody is elected in another city that does not hold a position here to work here. I don't see it. I don't see the conflict, and I don't see absolutely anything that is wrong with it. But for the sake of the argument, since I would definitely go along with the majority, but I just, for the record, and I want to be very, very clear, I do not see whatsoever what's the issue if they have a Parks and Rec
but
position.
But Mayor, you're telling me someone is mayor at another city and in charge of our building department.
Yeah, in that case, this is what happened when you are. And I'm giving you a perfect example when you work for the school system. If you work for the school system, that you become an elected official in the school system, because of your livelihood, they will reassign you a position where it's not a conflict with what you do. So in terms of if you need to, if it's Parks and Rec, whatever the case is, they will reassign you that position, or go and give food to the elderly. That has nothing to do with that.
But what about school board to school board?
No, you cannot. We just eliminate that here. No, you cannot do that. That's
my question. From school board to school board.
What do you mean school board to school board?
Someone is working in a position at Miami-Dade School Board and another position at Broward School Board.
No, you could do that. That has nothing to do with them. Listen, as a council person, that's why in conflict with them, because their stuff come to us as a city. So they will need me more than they need somebody at the school system, because there's no conflict in Broward. They don't go to Broward County Public Schools. There's teachers who work in Palm Beach, whatever. But so they have county commissioners who work for the. No, well, I'm letting you know that they have county commissioners.
My question to you.
Yes, sir.
Let's not compare school board and city. Can someone work for two school board departments?
Yes,
Work for
Yes.
Broward School Board and Miami School Board.
yes, because that has absolutely, there's no conflict.
Yeah, but for political position, it's kind of different.
What do you mean political position?
Being mayor at a city and at the same time being a city manager at another city.
No, I'm not. What do you mean being the? No, that's too sworn in position. They cannot. You can't do that. That's not what we're talking about. Like you have a county commission. We have two county commissioners who work for the school system. They can't hold a sworn in position at the school board. They cannot be a superintendent, just like they cannot be a city manager. Like I cannot be a city manager in any other city, but I could work in any other city outside in Palm Beach and Broward, but I cannot be a city manager in any city in the state of Florida because that's illegal. But there's nothing preclude me, Mr. Attorney, right? I could be a city employee in Palm Beach, correct, sir? If I get a job in Palm Beach, it's right?
Yes, it's not. It's not a. That's not a dual office holding.
Yeah, it's not a dual officer. I cannot be a city
on
manager, and I'm not qualified to be a city attorney. But if I was, I could not do. If I was an attorney, I could not be a city attorney because that's a sworn-in officer. I could not do those jobs, but I could be an assistant city manager. I could be a director of a city in Oakland or Fort Lauderdale. I could do any of those. That has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. You know, so I mean, it's our rule, and I'm going with the majority. I'm okay with it.
No, but from what I understand, and even though whatever we do today, it's and we're gonna have a second reading, and before we can move it forward, then I don't know if we have to reformulate this ordinance and bring it back or if we're gonna pass it today, and the city attorney gonna clean it, and anything we will do it at the second reading. What do you guys think?
Mr. Mayor,
I recommend we pass today. I recommend that we pass.
Councilman Galvin, what did you say?
I was going to recommend what the councilwoman's about to recommend.
What do you recommend, Councilwoman Estime Irvin?
Yes, I recommend that we pass it today, and then we still have some time to the second reading to go over it, review it, and fine tune. But I think overall we did a decent compromise on what all our thoughts were. And
I think we're going to pass it with the amendments.
Correct.
Can you make the motion?
I motion that we move this ordinance as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion made by Councilwoman Estime Irvin to approve the item at tab B with the amendment stated on record. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Desume, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much. And now do we have citizen forum, Madam Deputy City Clerk?
Let me double check for you. We have one previously submitted comment. And let me see if we have anybody else. If you would like to speak for citizen forum, please raise your hand. Claude, do we have any hands raised?
Can you read your comment? The comment you said previously.
No hands are raised right now.
Thank you. My name is Laura Hill, 13075 Griffin Boulevard, North Miami, Florida, 33161. I would like the mayor and city and council to reconsider allowing the moratorium on shutting off residents' water to expire compared to earlier this year when council saw fit to place the moratorium. We have far higher numbers of residents who have contracted COVID-19. More people have buried loved ones, more people are unemployed, and unemployment funds have dried up. No economic stimulus has been forthcoming. To shut residents' water off for lack of funds to pay in the middle of the raging pandemic is not right. Residents did not create this pandemic, did not leave their jobs purposely, and also did not create this financial crisis that North Miami finds itself in. Shutting off residents' water in a pandemic is immoral. Please extend the moratorium. Thank you. Laura Hill.
Thank you very much. Citizen forum is now closed. Do you have any report from council members?
Yes.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
Yes. I do want to, if at our next meeting, if we could talk about that. That is a good point. I thought I didn't know if this was continued, but there was an incident that happened. I don't know if the manager, if she's aware. Part of my district, the water was turned off for all morning for like 3 hours. So I'm hoping that they were doing some work in the area. I don't think it was part of the moratorium that was happening of people didn't pay. So, but I do want to talk about that at our next meeting. Is a discussion. I don't think this is the right time. We need to figure something out or do something. But in terms of that. But I wanted to say a few words, Mr. Mayor. This morning, Councilman Galvin and we attended the homegoing service for a giant in our community, Penny Valentine, who's an icon in this community, passed earlier this week, or I think late last week. She is really the founder of North Miami Economic Growth in this city. Her and her husband, Bill Valentine, they have earned so many accolades in this city. There was a point when I first moved into the city as a young man, and I remember you could not have run for office or think about running for office without going through Penny Valentine's and Bill to get the blessing. They were a political icon in this city. They really kind of direct the city, like the godfather and godmother of this city. They had a heart of gold. They changed with the city as the city was changing. And I had a proclamation on behalf of the city from your office and our office. We delivered at the service. And Councilman Gavin said a nice few words at the service, as well as I called up Mayor Pierre, who had a very, very kind of very weird but sweet relationship with Penny, because he became the first African-American, the first Black mayor, president of the chamber, and Penny encouraged that for Scott, I'm saying Scott, for Andre to do, and their relationship was very, very special, and he shared that at the funeral service. But Penny was someone who a lot of us, especially myself as a young person growing up here in the city, the special touch that we received by Penny is, it's forever missed. And her legacy and what they have left behind the city. And I don't think the chamber has never been the same ever since they left. So I do want to, our hearts goes out to the Valentine family. They lived, I think, in District 2 or District 3. Well, I think it's District 2. Okay, District 2. In the border of District 3, right? Captain Jim's. That's where I know around there. But for many, many years. Wow. And ever since Bill left, you could just tell. And I think they were really the icon, finding the North Miami scholarship pageant. And they were always about promoting North Miami, and we'll never have another Bill and Penny Valentine's in North Miami. So I do want to say that and pay homage to them. Thank you. The mayor's not here, so anyone else who want to say a few words? Oh, you are here. Okay, well, anyone else, please go for next. Councilman Galvin, Councilwoman.
No report.
Thank you very much. Yes, Councilwoman.
Your mic is off.
Irvin.
I should know this by now, right? Thank you so much for those kind words about the Valentine's period. Thank you for attending as well. I just wanted to say, although that we're getting gift cards for our residents through this program, the CARES Act that we just passed, I just want to remind everyone that our housing and social service department still have funds available for rent relief and for mortgage, and all of those funds must be also depleted. I want to say it's also December 31st, but just as a safety net, let's say December 30th. So if you need any information or any assistance, you can call 305-895-9895, or you can call Patricia, the constituent aide for District 3, 786-385-2576. Also, District 3's is having a Holiday Angels, although we won't be able to do the large toy distribution this year. We're working with amazing Holiday Angels who will answer Dear Santa letter for the residents of District 3. Families are encouraged to share their stories and ask Santa for help. The letter could be essentials or for homes or groceries or toys for kids. Letters could be mailed to City Hall. For those of you who don't know and are listening, it's 776 Northeast 125th Street, North Miami, Florida 33161, or you can email district3@northmiami.fl. All letters must be received by December 15 at 8 p.m. We're also having District 3 is also having a house decorating contest. So please, you can go and register. What would they register? You can go on, I think it's on my page, right? So if you go to North Miami, northmiami.gov and go to Mayor and Council, and if you go to my page, you can go there and register if you want to participate in the contest. And we're going to have some exciting prizes. We'll have a first, second, and third place. For more information, again, you can just contact our Mayor and Council's office, 305-895-9818, and speak to Rosalie, Rosa, or Patricia. And that's all that I have to say. Again, I hope everyone had a beautiful and safe Thanksgiving. Continue to, we're hearing the reports, it's rising. Continue to stay safe and do all that you can to protect yourself against this pandemic and this virus. Thank you.
Any more report? No. Thank you very much, Madam City Manager.
Mr. Is he gone?
Who?
I'm here, sir.
I'll give you a call. I just want you to do a little bit of research for me. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Madam City Manager, no reports?
I don't have any report, but I did want to alert the council that we recognized just now that the go-to meeting link started 13 minutes late. Residents were able to see on channel 77 and online, but not through the go-to meeting link. So just in case you have any questions or concerns, there was a technical issue and that we weren't able to get go-to meeting to get started until 13 minutes in the meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much. And can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
A motion made by Vice Mayor Desmond to adjourn. That motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 35.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everyone. See you on Tuesday.